Hey everyone, it's Dark Devis here, and today I just wanted to share my thoughts on homebrewed content within TTRPGs. And we're primarily going to cover Dungeons and Dragons. Now, I'm pretty sure you're all aware of homebrew at this point. It's kind of an obvious thing that you've at least seen it at this point, because Dungeons and Dragons doesn't have a lot of options. I don't know what it is with WotC and barely drip feeding us anything. We're kind of starving out here for more player content that we are going to new people, and that also is partially due to the OGL controversy. Not going to cover that though. So D&D only has 13 classes in the entire game, one of which we got 6 years after the game's been out. And in those subclasses, there are about over 100 subclasses in the entire game. And that sounds like a lot of options on paper, but it's not, because not everyone plays those options. Not everyone's going to want to play a sorcerer or a fighter or a druid, because that's not what people want to do. Not everyone wants to turn animals. Not everyone wants to just hit things. Not everyone wants to be kind of like this scientist person or this high wizard of magical power. No, some people don't want to be those things, and that's okay. But I feel like we should be trying to have more options for people who want to play in those narratives, who want to play the I just want to hit stuff. I think there should be more options for that. And I mean, a lot of some of these options that WotC has given us are more flavorful than you think. You know, it's not everyone wants to play this, oh, I'm this wise and great person who just has studied martial arts. No, maybe I just want to play a street ruffian who goes around in engaging in gang fistfights. You know, and we'll cover that as later on. And I don't think we're gonna get a lot more new stuff from 1D&D 5e 2.0. We don't know what exactly it's called yet. We're all just calling it 1D&D. But I don't think we're gonna get a lot of stuff out of that. I don't think we're gonna get a lot of new content. We definitely haven't seen them prioritizing making a new class. We haven't even seen Artificer in 1D&D. And I think we've only seen 2 new subclasses. I mean, granted, they were reworking a lot of the classes originally, but I still think we haven't seen a lot from WotC that kind of tells us they're going to make something new. They overhauled the weapon system, which I am kind of happy about how they did that. I still think that some of the weapons are still going to be underpowered compared to others, like the dart. And that's kind of my first point as to why homebrew's kind of necessary in some instances, because some things aren't made equal in this game. A barbarian is obviously going to pick a great sword or a great axe, or like a long sword or like a one-handed weapon and a shield. They're going for a bit more defense versus like a short sword, 2 short swords. Why make 2 attacks when I could make 1 and get the same amount of damage off? Or take a look at rogue. Why would I pick a dart or a blowgun to use when I could have a dagger, crossbows, a rapier? All that sounds a lot better than darts and blowguns. And fists, unarmed fighting, unless you're a monk, isn't that good overall. I mean, the unarmed fighting style gives you a D6 or a D8. It's not particularly that good. It doesn't really give a lot of flavor into the unarmed fighting style. Like, what if I want to just play a guy that just goes around in a street gang beating the frick out of people? You know, we don't really have a lot of options for that, you know, other than rogue. But, you know, rogue is not meant to do that. Monk, but monk is not flavored to do that. Certainly can make a subclass around that, but, you know, homebrew kind of can come in and fix that. I mean, take a look at, just some of the... You could probably find online a lot of different things about people fixing whips, darts, blowguns, a lot of these underutilized weapons. Or going in and fixing a lot of the underutilized subclasses. I know Pointy Hat, he has gone through like a lot of these classes and found what's good, what's bad. I mean, take a look at Barbarian, alright? Totem Warrior Barbarian gets an ability that can make all damage except psychic damage resisted. That's pretty strong. Wild Magic Barbarian can't even keep up with that ability ever. It's that bad. And Wild Magic Barbarian, I've actually played it. It's fun on paper until you get past like level 5. Once you start realizing that your main ability isn't going to get an upgrade and is pitiful for the rest of the game, you kind of realize that Wild Magic Barbarian kind of sucks. And that's one of the newer ones. And some of these newer subclasses are a lot stronger than their previous counterparts. And some aren't, obviously. I think nothing in the Barbarian's kit has ever been able to top Totem Warrior with that resistance ability. Granted, it also had in that same book probably one of the worst Barbarian subclasses outside of Wild Magic, being the Berserker, considering a level of exhaustion kind of sucks unless you're playing Adventurers League. Where that's not going to matter too much because you're never going to hit a level 6 exhaustion in Adventurers League. It's probably not going to happen. And I just feel like Homebrew, either I can go in and nerf the Totem Warrior, I can go and bring some of these underutilized and underpowered subclasses into the limelight. Or, you could be that DM who goes and fixes the Sorcerer Wild Magic subclass because of how dangerous it is. And I'm actually going to have that covered in my favorite subclasses one, because that is on there as one of my favorites, just because of how chaotic it is. But, Homebrew is also able to expand your player options. I've been talking about a lot of this street fighting ruffian who likes to beat people up with his fists and get in the frick of things. And there is a subclass for that out there that has been made. It's on DM's Guild. It's called the Pugilist. You can also buy it in a book as well. But it takes that concept of, what if I just want to be an unarmed guy? What if I just want to be like a unarmed street ruffian that goes around and beats the fuck out of people? Well, yeah, I can play a monk, but that's kind of like a wise guy thing. No, I can play a pugilist, and I can be like a freaking WWE wrestler. I could be like a street gang man. I could be like just a freaking beast of a guy. Instead of that. Or what about a dedicated monster hunting class? We have the Ranger, but it's really only got one option for that, being its favored enemy trait. And that's not even that good unless you're playing in a campaign setting in which the monsters are. If you already know what the primary monster is, that ability becomes a lot more powerful. And I feel like giving that information out is a little too much to give to players, because then they can prepare around it beforehand, and it isn't that good to do that. I like the surprise of things with that. Not just giving away free information, because I do not want my player to feel like, oh, I picked dragons and there are no dragons in my campaign. Or, he picked dragons. I now have to make a dragon in my campaign that does not have dragons. So, where's our dedicated Monster Hunter subclass? I assume all of you know what Blood Hunter is. Matt Mercer's homebrew class, and probably one of the most famous ones out there. And, in my opinion, it's a monster hunting expert, yes. But I've also found the Jaeger subclass from Steinhardt's Guide to the Eldritch Hunt, which unfortunately is not out right now. It did have a successful Kickstarter. I am talking out of my butt from beta content. But it is sort of this monster hunting class based around Bloodborne, which I find to be very fun, because I can just go at the people, shoot them, and stab them with a sword in that class. And then I also can go up them, hit them with a sword, and like absolutely rip their innards out with that. And so that's really fun to me. You know, having these extra options, I have a lot more to pick from because while I may probably play every class at one point as a player, I'm probably going to prioritize playing a lot more of the martial classes before I play maybe like wizard again, because I played a sorcerer first. I'm playing in more martial classes now, and then I'm probably going to go back to some of these sorcerers and wizards and warlocks before I go back to the martials. I'm kind of going in between things as I do it. So, you know, and lastly, I want to talk about where you want to get your homebrew from. There are so many good choices to get your homebrew from. You have DM's Guild, a marketplace of content. Just literally go find something that's been well rated on there, and you can easily pick stuff up. They have stuff that's based around already existing adventures, such as Wild Beyond the Witchlight or Dragonlance. They have stuff that's just completely new. Let's say you're fed up with the 2 Monster Manual books, which, by the way, we don't have in our Monster Manual book. We don't get like another Monster Manual book like ever. I think we're getting like a Giants book, and that's about it. But on DM's Guild, they have a Monster Manual expanded book, and then they have a part 2 to that book. They made a sequel to that. That's how good it was. I, of course, can't say to that because I actually haven't read it. I just know it exists because I haven't used it up yet. I have other books. I also know that Ghostfire Gaming is really good. They've helped produce stuff like Dungeons of Drakenheim, made by the Dungeon Dudes, who are really great YouTubers. You have, obviously, Critical Role's Tal'Dorei Reborn book. This one's good. It's primarily a campaign setting, but it does have some player options and some magic items and some spells in there. And lastly, my favorite of my homebrew bunch, you have the Grim Hollow collection. This is the player's guide, this is the campaign setting, and this is their monster manual. Look how thick this boy is. This is big. This is the monster manual. For comparison, this is a lot thicker. I don't know if you can tell. This thing is packed to the brim with good material. It's got a ton of monsters in it, a lot of which I'm going to be using once I get out of the lower levels on my players, because I'm that evil to them that I'm hitting them where it hurts. But I think at the end of the day, you know, if you're one of those purists who like, I only want to use core material, you're going to be lacking content eventually. Your players are probably going to run out of ideas because you are limiting the pool of which you can pull from. You are not letting other ideas come into play. And granted, I do believe that every time you source homebrew, you look at it and approve it and make any necessary tweaks that you find maybe a little too broken. Because I do believe that one of these classes in the Grim Hollow Player's Guide is a little strong because it literally says at turn 0, make an attack at advantage. Which is a little strong at level 3. But anyway, that's kind of my point, is that homebrew's kind of a really good thing. It's a necessary part of this game for it to evolve. I think WotC is learning that the hard way because they aren't really putting out very good products, in my opinion. We are getting Glory of the Giants, and that's primarily like, what, a Giants lore book, plus some monsters, plus one subclass, and maybe some new spells, I think. But other than that, what is it? It's not really much. I think they're trying to cater to everyone. I think we just need another book like Tasha's or Xanathar's Guide, just kind of like Player's Handbook 3. We kind of just need Player's Handbook 2.0. I think if you just sold that with a bundle, the Player's Handbook 2.0, you make another Player's Handbook. You include the base information that you need from the Player's Handbook. You include a new class in it, and you include all the previously original classes, but every single one of them has new subclasses and tweaked abilities that are your pretty much update fix. And I guess that's what 1DZ is trying to do, but it seems like we're going back and rehashing a lot of the original stuff. And I think that's not what we should be doing. I think we should just be going into the future and just tweaking things, that we kind of were like, yeah, back in 2014, this sounded like a good idea, and we kind of realized that over time, it sucks balls. And also making new content. I feel like Wizards of the Coast hasn't really gotten into darker material yet. The closest we've gotten is Van Richten's and Curse of Strahd. But I think, like, where's our blood magic? Where's our like darkness? Where's the dark, gritty horror that we crave as dark fantasy people? Where's that? Where's like our Feywild book? We've only really got Wild Beyond the Witchlight for that in our pocket books for Dungeons and Dragons. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave a like. And if you want to continue seeing my videos, please be sure to subscribe, because I will probably be making another one of these videos. Next one, I do promise, is going to be DM's tips. I know I've covered kind of like a lot of just general player knowledge and player opinions that I have on this, but I'm going to be giving another DM's tip. I'm kind of going to go back and forth. Oh, that's my books. I'm leaning on the mess crutch and what them fell. But I'm kind of going back and forth between them right now. I'm doing kind of like a DM's tip and a player's kind of help thing. So next video is going to be something related to a DM's tip. I don't know what yet. I kind of do these as I make them. So if you want to see that, please subscribe. And anyway, I hope you like this video, and I hope to see you next time.